How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Gimel, Daf 3 of Masechta Nedarim, friends. Friends, I still got a cold, got a cold, man. Got a freaking cold. Oh, I got a cold, friends. I got a cold. Hopefully I'm over the peak, It takes a week, man. It just takes a freaking week. I think it started on Friday. Today is Monday night. So, yeah. I don't know. Tomorrow's the big Shaila. Tuesday's going to be the big Shaila. Am I going to go through a package of tissues tomorrow, or are we done with that? That was like the last 2 days. I feel like it's like 2-3 days of tissues, and then you're like on the mends, So once you get over the tissue phase, welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Gimel, Daf 3 of Masechta Nedarim, friends. Today we talk about Yodis. Yodis. Okay, those like partial kind of neders, right? When you don't mention, right, you say, this pizza. Ooh, pizza. Friends, what's your favorite pizza? That's a good shaila. Alright. Oh man. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Okay. So if you say like this pizza is forbidden to me, but you don't mention like a korban, so that's like yodis, like a partial neder. So where's that from? So we can start on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. I don't know, maybe 2/5. What's 2/5? 40% of the way through the Amud. It says v'yodis heichak siv. You got it? So where in the Torah do we have yodis by Nedarim? So ish kiyafli lindor neder nazir lahazir laHashem. So I think the Pashup Pshat is ish kiyafli lindor neder nazir laHashem. That if a fellow is going to make a vow of nazirus, to be a nazir, to be a nazir to the Eibishter. So we learn lindor neder, right, to make a vow, nazir lahazir. So Vitanya, nazir lahazir lasos kinoi, nazirus kinazirus. So when it says this double lashon of nazir lahazir, so it's to say that also the equivalent terms for a nazir are considered like the absolute terms. V'yados nazirus kinazirus, and also partial terms for a nazir also are acceptable. Okay, so we see that by nazirus there's yodis. Ainli ela b'naziris b'nedarim minayin. So okay, so by naziris there's yodis. What about by nedarim? Talmud Omer ish kiyafli lindor neder nazir lahazir laHashem. So makish naziris lindarim. So we have in the same pasuk we have nedarim, we have nazir as well. So we compare them. Nedarim the naziris, right? So we compare naziris to nedarim, right? And nedarim the naziris. So we compare them back and forth. Ma nazirus also bo yodis nazirus ki nazirus, just like by nazirus there's yodis. Nedarim also by yodis nedarim ki nedarim. So by vows we treat the partial vows and the shorthand vows like longhand vows. Uma nedarim over bebal yochel uvebal ta'acher, and just like by vows there are the prohibitions of Bal Yochel, that you cannot desecrate the vow, violate the vow, and Bal Ta'acher, that, for example, if you say that you're going to bring a sacrifice to the temple, so do not delay it, as we've learned, I think, in Masechta Beya, and also in another place, Masechta Beya, and also where else did we have? I think we had another place. What comes after Beya? Can't remember. Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Uval ta'acher. Af nazirus over b'bal yochel uval ta'acher. So oichit, when it comes to a nazir, there's do not violate the Nazarite, the Nazarism. Is that what it is? Nazirus. And also do not delay it. And later on the daf, we're going to explain what it means to violate the nazirus and violate and to delay the Nazirus. Now, also similarly, just like a father can annul the vows of his daughter, and a husband can annul the vows of his wife, Nazirus, also when it comes to the vows of Nazarisms, the father can annul the Nazirus that or his daughter accepts upon herself uval mefer Nazirus ishto, and a husband can annul the vow of Nazirus of his wife. Excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose. Be right back. So now, fact the Gemara, Maishna gabe Nazirus. How can we learn out Yodis from Nazirus? Tichsev Nazir lahazir, because it says Nazir lahazir, the double lashon. Nedarim nami oksev lindor neder. So also by vows it says lindor neder. So just like there's Nazir lahazir, there's lindor neder. There's the double lashon by vows as well. So why are we learning out Yodis only from Nazirus, not by Nedarim? Ve'akesha lamali. How come I need therefore to compare Nedarim to Nazirus? I mean, it says Nazir lahazir. It says also lindor neder. So I could just learn out from lindor neder that there's Yodis by Nedarim. I don't need the comparison. Because of neder lindor kidikos of Nazir lahazir kidikamar. So the Gemara says, look, if it says neder lindor, like it says Nazir lahazir, right? Meaning like lindor and lahazir, those are like the verbs, whereas the neder is the thing and the Nazir is the thing. So kilif, the thing came before the verb. So if it said neder lindor, just like kidichsiv, just like it says Nazir lahazir, so the kidika amar. So yeah, we would be able to learn out yados from vows. Lo tzarich ekesha. I wouldn't need the comparison. But hasha dichsiv lindor neder. But because it says lindor neder, dibur Torah kolashim b'nei adam. The Torah is just, there's nothing to learn out from there. The Torah, when it says lindor neder, is just speaking in the way that the people speak. Lindor neder. And therefore, but it's not to learn anything special from the double lashon, to say yodis. No, it's just, lindor neder is just a normal way to say vow. Okay? So that, of course, makes sense if you hold Dibur Torah Kolashim B'nei Adam, that the Torah just speaks in the way of people, and there's nothing fancy, don't get carried away. You can't learn out Yodos from Lindor Neder. So I need to learn out Yodos from Nazir and compare that to Nedarim. Fine. But if you don't hold of Dibur Torah Kolashim B'nei Adam, that the Torah just speaks like the people speak, so Lindor Neder, I should be able to say, okay, well, there's something to learn from here. It's a double lashon. We should be able to learn Yados. So I lindor neder, my ovid lay. So then, what do you do with lindor neder? If it's not just to be speaking like the people speak. So darish lay, lasos Yados nedarim, kinedarim. So rather, from lindor neder, he would say, that's how we learn out that Yados nedarim. We learn out from nedarim. What? That there's Yados by Nedarim from Lindor Neder. Umakish Nazirus Nedarim. And we compare Nazirus to Nedarim. So we're saying Lindor Neder. We learn out that there's even Yados by Nedarim. We then compare Nazir Lahazir to Lindor Neder, and to say that by Nazirus also there's Yados. And Nazir Lahazir, so what does he learn out from Nazir Lahazir then? If he's learning out Yados from Lindor Neder, so what do you learn out from Nazir Lahazir? Darish Lei. He expounds it, Milamid she ha-nazirus chol ala nazirus, that it teaches that you can have double nazirus. That is, Rashi says, if a fellow says, Hareini nazir ayom, Hareini nazir ayom, if he says it twice, I'm a nazir today, I'm a nazir today. So the shaila is, did he just double up his obligation? Right, stam nazirus is shloshim yom. Right, the default of being a nazir is for 30 days. So if he says, Hareini nazir ayom, Hareini nazir ayom, so is he basically setting his nazirus to 60 days? Or do we say, no, it's just one nazirus of 30 days? So we're saying from Nazir Lahazir that it's 60 days, right? That you can add one nazirus to another. Shah nazirus chal ala nazirus, that you can add one nazirus to another nazirus. Now, according to the opinion who says that from Lindor Neder, the Torah is just speaking like the people speak, and therefore from Yados, therefore we learn out Yados from Nazir, where it says Nazir Lahazir, that's how we learn out Yados, and then we apply that to Nedarim. So then, how does that opinion know that you can add a Nazirus onto a Nazirus? So L'man da'amar dibur Torah kolashim b'nei adam v'Nazir Lahazir darish lasos Yados Nazirus k'Nazirus, and from Nazir Lahazir you learn out Yados by Nazirus. Sha Nazirus chol ala Nazirus minale. Well, then how do you know that you can add one Nazirus onto another Nazirus? So anicha is svir like mandam re'ei Nazirus chal al Nazirus. Well, it would be easy if we hold like the opinion who says that, well, he actually says that you don't add one Nazirus onto another Nazirus. He would say, right, from Nazir Lazar we learn at Yadus by Nazirus. So then how do I know that if he says Hareini Nazir Ayom, it's for 60 days? The answer is it's not for 60 days. It's for 30 days. Ein Nazirus chal al Nazirus. Eli svirle k'madam Nazirus chal al Nazirus. But if you hold like the opinion says that Mapitom, of course it would be 60 days. Of course Nazirus chal al Nazirus. But how do we know that? From Nazir Lazar we learn at Yadus by Nazirus. How do we know that also Nazirus is chal al Nazirus? So Minale. So name akra Lizor. Well, it should say, right, Lizor, was it Nazir Lahazir? It should say, what, Nazir Lizor? Alright. My Lahazir, what does it mean Lahazir? So Shmasmina Tartis. The extra hey is teaching us two things, that it's Yados, but Oichit, that Nazirus is Chal Nazirus, because it says Lahazir and not Lizor. Okay. Very nice. B'Ma'arava, in Eretz Yisrael, they learn out Yados in the following way. Amrei Istana Demapikle Liados Min Lindor Neder. So there is an opinion that learns out Yados by a Neder from Lindor Neder, right? Because he says that he doesn't hold of Dibitor Klashim Bnei Adam, and therefore Lindor Neder is how we learn out Yados by Neder. V'Istana Demapikle Min Kol Yotzim Min Pivyaise. There's another Tana that learns it out from Min Kol Ayotzim Pivyaise, that the pasuk says whatever comes out of his mouth he's got to do, and even if it's Yados, even if it's a partial vow. Alright? We said earlier, Nedarim over B'Bal Yochel U'B'Balta Acher. Oh, so we said that by vows you can violate Bal Yochel, that do not violate it and do not delay it. So Bishlam Bal Yochel the Nedarim Mishkachasa. So I understand what it means. Do not violate your vow. Kigon de Amar Kikar. We have to change the text over here. Is if he says Kikar zo, this loaf of bread, this pizza, Einu Ochel ve'Ochla. He says this pizza I'm not going to eat it ve'Ochla, and then he ate it. So that's lo yochel, right? Do not violate what you said. You said you weren't going to eat the pizza. Don't eat the pizza. So over mishum bal yochel. So he violates the prohibition against violating your vow. Oh. Dib lo yochel devo. Fine, bal yochel devo. Ela bal yochel the nazirus heichem mishkachasla. But how do you violate your nazirus? So came dam already nazir, havale nazir, because once he says that he's a nazir, he is a nazir. And ochal, at that point, if he eats grapes, kamle bal yochel, he's violating a different law of bal yochel. Don't eat any grapes. Shasa, if he drinks wine, kamle bal yishte, he's violating the prohibition against drinking wine. So where does bal yochel come in? Right, he violates bal yochel, violates bal yishte. Where does bal yochel come in? Rav says Rav laver olav be shnayim. That Rav says to say, well, he's going to be violating two things. If he drinks wine, not only is he violating bal yishte, he's also violating bal yochel. Alright, sounds pretty exciting. How do we find a situation where he's delaying his nazirus by a neder? It's that if you say you're going to bring a korban, you have to bring a korban within a certain amount of time, and if you delay, so then you're violating bal ta'acher. How do you violate delaying by a nazir? Came down already nazir, because once he says that he's a nazir, havale nazir, he is a nazir. Achal kamle b'bal yochal, and if he eats grapes, he's violating bal yochal. Ba'omer zel. So how do you delay a nazirus? Once he says that he's going to be a nazir, he's memela a nazir immediately. Ba'omer l'chshe'ertze a nazir. Well, if the fellow says, I'll be a nazir whenever I want, so then he's delaying. But if he says that I'm going to be a nazir whenever I feel like it, well, then he's not delaying anything. All he said is he's going to be a nazir when he feels like it. So when he feels like it, he'll become a nazir. He's not delaying anything. Amarava says, Rava could go into Amarlo, ipater min ha'elam ache nazir. Oh. So Rava says, he's talking about a situation where he says that I'm going to be a nazir for at least 30 days before I die. Now, he doesn't know when he's going to die. So, D'minai shaita, and because he doesn't know when he's going to die, so then immediately already, he doesn't know if he's going to die within the next 30 days, so he has to already be a nazir now. He's going to have to be a nazir from that point, right from that point. And he needs to make the declaration immediately. And if he doesn't make the declaration immediately, he's delaying. Similar, right? It's like a husband who says to his wife, here's your divorce document, and it kicks in 1 hour before I die. He doesn't know when he's going to die. Immediately, she's not allowed to eat truma anymore, because who knows, maybe he's going to die within the hour, and retroactively, this would have already been within the hour of his death, and she's not allowed to eat truma. So we see that we have to be concerned that you could die at any time, and therefore she can't be eating truma because it might be within the hour of his death. So you're also So here oichet, we say that if he's going to be a nazir before he dies, so then he has to be a nazir already from now, because we don't know if he's going to die within the next 30 days, and therefore he has to already be a nazir now, and he can't delay declaring himself as a nazir. And if he does, he's violating Baal Ta'achar. Friends, that was Daf Gimel Masechta Nedarim. So we were learning out different the source of yados when it comes to Nedarim. So if a person says that this pizza is forbidden to me, but he doesn't mention like a korban, so that's a partial declaration, and that's considered like a neder. So how do we know that is a neder? Where do we see from the Torah? So we say that we can, one opinion is that we learn it out from a comparison from Nazir. That by Nazir says Nazir lahazir, and we learn out yados by Nazir, and therefore we apply that then from Nazir to Nedarim, because it's compared in the pasuk. Another way to learn it is that no, Tavka, it's learned out from Lindor Neder. From Lindor Neder, we learn out yados by Nedarim as well. And then along the way, we saw an interesting machlokas about, do we say Dibra Torah Koloshim B'nei Adam or not? Do we say that Lindor Neder is just that the Torah is speaking like the people speak, but there's nothing special to learn from it? Or do we say no, Mapitom, the Torah is not just speaking in the way the people speak, there's something to learn out from Lindor Neder, which is then essentially which is how we learn out yados from there. Another opinion that we saw was potentially from the pasuk of Kol hayotz mipiv yaiseh, that whatever he says he's got to do, and even that if that's a partial declaration, we then we had said that when it comes to a nazir, you can violate Baal Yochel and Baal Ta'achar. So we say by nazir, if he eats grapes or drinks wine, in addition to be violating Baal Yochel and Baal Yishteh, he's also going to be violating Baal Yochel. Don't violate your word. And in terms of Baal Ta'achar, we said that Rava said that that's talking about a situation where he says he's going to be a nazir before he dies, and therefore he doesn't know when he's going to die. So already you have to assume that right now he has to be a nazir, and therefore he should make himself a nazir now and not delay. Friends, that was Daf Gimel Masechta Nedarim. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.